Hey, what's going on? It's Dr. Mike Nelson here. Thank you very much to my buddy Riley sending me the t-shirt. So I wanted to model that. So something you can do with just a very simple plate, if you've got kind of some wonkiness in this top part of the forearm. So sometimes you can have what's called tendinosis or tendinitis. So a lot of times when you go in, most of the time they'll refer to everything as tendinitis. In general, tendinitis is from inflammation, and in general, it tends to get worse and worse, even with exercise. So tendinosis, in general, will get a little bit better with exercise. So if you go to the gym, you start doing stuff, you start moving around, you're like, oh, my elbows don't really hurt as bad. Again, it's a generalization. Talk to your physician if you need a formal diagnosis, but most of the time, that's more tendinosis. Tendinosis is more related to the change in the connective tissue and the collagen. So one of the ways you can work to try to remodel that a little bit is by doing more eccentric exercise. So if I hold my hand like this and I lower the weight really slow, that's primarily an eccentric exercise. And when we put that much tension and stress on there, we're actually causing that collagen and soft tissue to remodel along the lines of stress. The hard part though is that for a lot of people, doing this type of motion or lowering it hurts a lot. So I've had this in both my elbows in the past. We're reaching up to take even a light plate out of the cupboard and just lowering it like that hurt really, really bad. So one of the exercises you can play around with is you can get a plate, again, 10 pounds, probably gonna be a little bit heavy to start, but so if your hand is here, if you rotate the hand a lot of times in this direction, this movement sometimes may not be that painful, but rotating it down becomes excruciatingly painful. So the nice part is we can try to get back to this movement. We can play around with our hand position so that it's not overly painful. So what it looks like is at the end, you want to be able to hold a moderate plate and slowly do an eccentric load like that, maybe take up to 5 seconds to lower it. Again, that's the goal. However, to get there in the meantime, you may have to hold the plate instead of this direction. So if I'm here, now I'm just slowly lowering it there, and you're like, oh, it's not too painful. You literally take your other hand, lift it back to the top, and then do that again for even up to 6 seconds. Over time, you'll then change the angle of your hand, getting it a little bit more down. So maybe my next progression is I'm going to be kind of right there at around 45 degrees. So by changing the angle of the hand, you want to get it to a position where it's not really that painful. I've had pretty good luck using this. In general, you're going to go start with a couple sets of just 6 reps, and then just start adding more and more to that. So when I had it for my own elbows, I was actually doing 10 reps at about a 6-second lowering. I would come out and just walk out in the gym and do it up to 6 times a day. Now most people probably don't have to do that much, but just play around with adding some of those long eccentric exercises, and so far I've had pretty good luck with that. Again, one of the other hallmarks too is that as you start doing this, the next day or even after the first couple times you do it, it should actually slightly start to get better. If you start doing it and all of a sudden it gets extremely worse, then of course stop doing it, and then use your hand position so that it's not exceedingly painful. There may be a little bit of pain or a slight bit of tension, but again, it shouldn't be that painful. So if you've got some kind of tendinosis going on in your elbows, that would be a good way using what we call a reverse plate curl. So again, start with even a 2.5 pound plate or a 5, but over time, eventually I like people just to work up to doing plate curls just like that in a reverse fashion with around a 5 to 10 pound plate. So test it out.